There was lots of reaction to these terminated trade talks on Parliament Hill today.
It's terrible. I mean, what he's doing is causing harm to Canadians, and again, he's an economic arsonist, and that we need to push back.
There are always speed bumps along the way, and somehow we have to keep going and make sure that we have a conversation that continues.
This is par for the course, and of course we'll continue going on because it's in the best interest of both countries to come to an agreement.
Morning, Mr. Doherty. What do you think of Trump and the ad?
How's Carney's plan working out for us?
Go Doug Ford! Go Doug Ford! Sorry.
Here with his reaction is Jean Charest, a member of the Prime Minister's Council on Canada-U.S. Relations, a former Deputy Prime Minister, and of course, Premier of Quebec. Mr. Charest, thank you for doing this. Out of the gates, do you think it was a mistake for Ontario to run this ad?
No, not at all. You know, on my own social media today, I put up the video of President Reagan. I thanked Donald Trump for attracting our attention to this video and encouraging everyone, especially Americans, to listen to the whole video. I think the more they get to see the video of Ronald Reagan, the more they'll be convinced that what he said is foundational in regards to the relationship between both Canada and the United States. And so I don't disagree at all. I would put more of the Reagan video out there if it were me.
Yeah, and I mean, as we were saying with Mr. McKenna, the turmoil has 10x the number of people that might have seen it otherwise. I was thinking about the last time that Trump halted talks, because this is not the first time that's happened. Back then, he had a pretty clear ask. He said you had to drop the digital services tax, which Carney did. I wonder if you have a sense in this moment what Carney needs to do or what Canada needs to do to get back to the table.
Well, I think it may be, a distraction. I think it'll take a few days, maybe hopefully a few days before we return to negotiations. My hope is that in the American business community, and specifically in the automotive industry, the industry will speak up and say, these tariffs on steel, on aluminum, the tariffs on cars are hurting our industry, hurting jobs in the United States, and we need to find a reasonable compromise with our Canadian neighbor, and so that's what we need to do. But Peter, in the case of Mr. Trump, there is nothing conventional about negotiating with the president. Absolutely nothing. It is unpredictable, and if you're a fan of fishing, it's like hooking a 40-pound salmon on an 8-pound line. You just have to bring it in very slowly and be very careful. And that's what I think the Prime Minister is doing, and accept the fact that we are going to have these events along the way. But in the end, Peter, if there's one thing that's clear, I think for most of us, and even in the American administration, there is a vested interest in maintaining the free trade agreement between Mexico, Canada, and the United States. Undoing it would have grave economic consequences that would hurt the American economy. And for that reason, I continue to be very, very convinced that they will want to negotiate a new agreement. They'll probably want to make some changes, fine. But in the end, maintaining that trade agreement is foundational for the economy of all three countries, especially the United States.
I'm inclined to agree with you, and I hear from business leaders, I hear from state leaders. Josh Shapiro was out tweeting just that today. Gavin Newsom was tweeting just that today. When I hear from the Kevin Hassetts and the Howard Lutnicks and the Scott Bestons and the Donald Trumps of the world, I don't think they agree with that take. How do you square those two views of what America needs to do? Because I wonder if Donald Trump actually believes that the free trade deal between those three countries as is actually beneficial to his country.
Well, this administration has never gone out to say we want to do away with what we call in Canada, the acronym is CUSMA, Canada, United States, Mexico Agreement. They have never said that. All the indications we have had from inside, and this includes Jameson Greer, who's the USTR representative, Secretary Lutnick, Secretary Bessent, is that they want to maintain the trade agreement, that they know how critically important. And by the way, they know that if the trade agreement were to be dismantled, there'd probably be real reactions, negative reactions by the markets and on long-term bonds, 10-year bonds in the United States. So we are so integrated that redoing that market would take tens of years and would cost hundreds of billions of dollars. Now, Frank McKenna, a moment ago, Premier McKenna spoke about a number of issues in regards to the trends on inflation, but I want to give you remind everyone of just one number. The price of gold in the world spiked last week at more than $4,000 an ounce. I mean, the increase. There's a story behind that. There is a reason for that, Peter. And the reasons are not good for the American economy and the world economy. If investors are looking to invest their money in very safe assets, there's nothing more basic than gold. There are reasons. And these are the things that can catch up with an administration very rapidly.
Well, I mean, as Mr. McKenna and I were talking about, 47,000 on the Dow is a big part of why we're seeing gold go up. A lot of people think we're in a bubble, and that's going to play this out. I want to ask how provinces are managing, whether they're sort of the bludgeon that the federal government can use. We have Doug Ford's ads. We have David Eby saying BC is going to make their own ads. As a former premier yourself, is the messaging we're seeing, is this helpful? Does this further jeopardize? Or is there a way of coordinating good cop, bad cop routine with the provinces here?
I think it is good. I've been there. And I can confirm one thing so that everyone is very clear. The federal and the provincial governments want to work together. They do want to work together. They do talk to each other. And yes, the messaging by Premier Ford is quite legitimate. Again, I think we should just push in further. We should encourage every single American who's interested in looking at the whole 7 minutes of the Reagan statement, because there is a message there that isn't just on the economy and tariffs. It is foundational in the relationship between both our countries. And so there is coordination. The provinces want to work with the federal government. Prime Minister Carney has met more often with the provinces in the last few months than we've had in the last 20 years. And there's a good reason for that. We live in a federal system that's very decentralized. We're one of the most decentralized federations in the world. The provinces are responsible for natural resources, which is not typically the case in any national government. And so if we're going to be successful in dealing with the Americans, but also, Peter, in changing fundamentally our economy, both levels of government have a duty of working together, which they're doing now.
I love that you say people should watch it. I actually pitched the show that we should run the entire 5-minute address. I was told that hours before a baseball game, it might not have been the most compelling viewing. One last question about both Trump and Carney are going to be at 2 summits in Asia this week. You've been on these trips. You know what it's like in those hallways. Is it likely that they'll meet and be able to have a conversation? Because it sure does seem that Trump actually likes Carney, or seems to anyways.
Everything I know is that they do get along well. They do communicate regularly. And yes, the summits are a very good moment. First of all, you're outside of your home country. You don't have that inherent, atmosphere around you, which is helpful. And then you can have a one-on-one conversation that's more open. And every time Mr. Carney has met with President Trump, it's had a positive effect. And so, but again, we're dealing with an individual that's quite exceptional in President Trump. There's nothing conventional in the way we deal with him. We know that. We should accept that and not, get ourselves too worked up about it, and be very resilient and perseverant in what we're doing. We need to protect CUSMA. We need to make sure that deal is there for the future. And we also need to deal with these extraordinary other tariffs. And we're making headway, but it's not going to be a simple process.
No, it is not. But it is made simpler having your explanations, and I really appreciate your insight. Thanks for this.
Thank you, Peter.